Good morning, Wealth family. I wanted to check my sound, so give me just one moment. Alrighty, today is July the 2nd. It's 11:51 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I'm going to break down this GBPUSD trade that we took today. Last week, if you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, I put a sell signal on I posted a sell signal on TikTok and Instagram. And so last week I was looking for a break of structure here. As you can see, this is Thursday, January 26th. I'm going to go ahead and delete the chart. We'll do a full markup. But I was looking for a break of structure here. And I said once you got a break and retest, and you got it right here. Price broke structure here. Then we got a clean break and a retest here. Okay? Alright, but let's mark up this trade. Let's do our top down. Gonna start on my monthly and let's see what the monthly is telling us. So overall, the monthly is still showing downtrend structure. Gonna get my path tool, and this is our monthly structure. Okay. Alright, so with knowing that this was my last lower high and this was my last lower low, and right here on my last lower high I see a fair value gap. So I'm going to mark this fair value gap here. And I'm just going to lock it. And then I'm just going to put a line down here on my low. Okay. Alright, and then I also saw, I'm coming a little closer. This is this month's candle. We know that it is a new month. It's just 2 days in. And I do like to look for my monthly CRT still. They seem to play out a lot better. And so I noticed that price ran last week's high. And I marked up 50%, not last week's, last month's high. And then I marked up 50% of last month's candle. Okay. And then I came down to my weekly and I zoomed out on my weekly and I said, what's going on between my last high and my last low? Well, price broke the last lower high, gave us a lower low, and remember, price can come all the way back to the remember, when you have structure and you look for a break of structure, right? This is where price broke the structure. After a break of structure, price can come back and retest structure. So I'm going to mark this last low. This was our structure that was broken. Price could come back, or price can come back and retest the area that broke the low and then still come lower. Okay? So I noticed that price came back into our structure area and then it started making internal structure higher highs and higher lows. Okay? And then I was like, okay, so I see prices pushing up. And then I'm going to zoom in. And I was like, okay, Last week, price gave me an engulfing candle. You see this candle? How it completely engulfs the previous candle. I'm going to hide the drawings real quick. This was last week's candle. This was the week before. This is an engulfing candle. Price ran the low and closed above the last week's high. So remember, when you have an engulfing candle, also you want to see price pull back to 50% of the engulfing candle. So okay, I was like, yes, we are going to get a pullback finally. And then I came down to my daily, and I noticed that right here, let me zoom back in, right here, this is where I marked 50% of that weekly, there was a fair value gap. There was a fair value gap, and guys, I know that I said I was never going to do support and resistance, but I'm kind of back to support and resistance also. I noticed there's a fair value gap, and then we had this ascending channel that gave us this zone. And if I come back over, you can see how price touched this area a couple of times. It's here, how price just kind of stayed within this area. So I was like, okay, this is, I'm looking for a break and retest. As you can see, price gave us an impulsive move up here with all of these bullish candles over the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. Pushed up, that was our break, and now this is our retest, and now we should be looking for continuation. Okay, definitely missed the first entry for this buy, but we'll get in it. It's Wednesday. I'm gonna leave it be because I caught 100 and something pips, so we'll see what happens next week. But again, this was a break and retest. Okay, so now it was just making our way into this trade. Okay, so now I'm going to come down to the hourly. I'm going to put my indicator back on. Remember, I used this RSI MACD indicator by Indian. Okay, so now last week price came to the zone, it rejected and kind of sold off. I put my fib on it because this was a big impulsive move right here. Price last week was just pushing straight up, and there was a zone down here that it pushed up from, but I don't have it marked up. It pushed up 396 pips in 3 days, which is why I was looking for that sale. So I was like, this is just impulsive move. Price has to come back and correct eventually. Okay, so then I put my fib on here, and I watched this first area. Okay, and I put my zero right here on my first area. We didn't quite get a 23.6 pullback, which still lets me know that price was going to continue, and it did. It continued up to this zone. Okay, and so now I'm pulling my zero up to here, and we got another 23.6, which was continuation, and it just came back to the zone again. Okay, so it came back to the zone again, and it created a by now y'all should know this candlestick pattern. These 3 candlesticks. 1, 2, 3. Bullish candle, doji candle, bearish candle. Brought a lot of bearish volume in, right? A lot of volume in. As you can see, there's no wick below on this candle. A very tiny wick, right? That is a lot of bearish movement. Okay, and then price created this fair value gap here. So I marked up this fair value gap. And then we got this other engulfing candle right here. This one right here. And so I just measured this candle, and we did a sell limit here at 50%. Price came back, tested the fair value gap one more time, and then it dropped to RTP. And then also on the indicator, as you can see, we got our double top here. We have our M. Let's see if I can make it bigger. I can't make it bigger, but there's our M here. me try to draw it out for you. If you see it right here, here, and then price went down. And then it also gave you like a lower high here, okay? And we caught a 10 to 1. My stop loss was above the candle that gave me the fair value gap. TP smack. Now, this was an impulse. This was a correction, right? Because this was the impulse. So now we want to try to catch the continuation, okay? So this was our impulse. This is our correction. Now we're looking to get in on the continuation. Kind of missed that very first entry. Not kind of, very much so did. As you can see, this was our fair value gap line. And what do we have? A morning star. Bearish candle, doji, bullish candle, okay? So now, we have a fair value gap here. Let's see if this fair value gap brings price back into this gap. Okay? It's a fair value gap from that higher time frame. Let's go back up and see which one it was. This monthly fair value gap here. Okay? That monthly 50%. So that's where we're trying to take price to next. I'm going to put my from here to there is a good 200 and something bips. So let's see what happens. So that's the rundown on GU. We caught the sell down. Now let's catch this continuation. And then if we look down here on the bottom, I told y'all M's and W's work on this indicator. So we had our M here, and now we have our W. Okay. Let's see what it's looking like on the 4 hour. Okay, and then we're low on the 4 hour, which means we have room to go up. Alright, same on the daily. This was a perfect break and retest. Alright, so that's about all that I have right now for today. I know I was supposed to do this trade live, but I went on vacation and I'm just now getting back into the swing of things. I got home really late on Monday, and then Tuesday I just took a lazy day. So now we're up today, Wednesday. Now the only thing about this trade is definitely going to be a swing trade, because Friday is the 4th of July. Markets are going to be really slow. As you can see, markets was already kind of slow this week already. So this is definitely going to be something to hold into next week. But I'm going to get into this buy. And tonight, I'll be back on TikTok at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are finally going to finish the Candlestick Bible. We only have 2 chapters left. And then after the Candlestick Bible, we're going to go into the chart pattern book, okay? I could use some brushing up on chart patterns myself. Alright? And we could do that together. So that's about it on GU. Hope you guys catch this trade. Let me know in the comments if you do. Have a good evening.